Well, hello everybody, it's me, Mitch. You can title this video something like The Fine Art of Throwing the Absolutely Perfect Guilt Trip. And for those of you who don't think it's an art form, you obviously weren't raised with either a Jewish or an Italian grandmother. And there's two reasons I'm talking about guilt trips now, is because there are masters out there. There are the equivalent of black belt kung fu guilt trip masters. These people can guilt you into doing anything. And the more of a conscience you have, and the more that you care about people and what they think of you, the more susceptible you are to receiving or catching a masterfully crafted, psychologically superb guilt trip designed to get you to do what they want you to do. Now, the biggest thing, or the biggest place where we're subject to these guilt trips, is when somebody wants us to eat something. They want us to eat something, and we don't want to eat it. There's many ways to throw a guilt trip. It's usually done by tone of voice or inflection, a change in attitude or facial expression. Somebody will come up to you with a plate of cookies. Have a cookie. You go, oh, no, thank you. So they'll take it to level one. And level one is like DEF CON. Different levels. Level one is, oh, they're so good. And that, depending on how your carb addiction is kicking in, you may actually say, okay, all right, I'll have a cookie if they're so good. If you're resolute and say, no, really, no, thank you, then they'll step it up to level two. Level two might be, but I just baked them myself. Now they've thrown additionally on your back that not only are they good, but that they actually worked at it. And what kind of a human being would turn down something that somebody else labored over with such care as they did in baking these cookies? And that's where probably another 20 to 30% of you will cave, because you appreciate how much work and love goes into into baking cookies for you, especially if this is a relative of yours, especially if it's your grandmother. And we go to level three. Oh, come on. Just one. It can't hurt you. Now they're lowering the threshold for you to cave in. You just have to eat one. So you reason with yourself and you say, wait a minute. Let me look at this rationally. I know I shouldn't eat these things because I'm on the carnivore diet. I know that I feel bad because my grandmother here worked so hard baking me these cookies. And now she's really letting me off the hook by telling me that I only have to eat just one cookie. And you say to yourself, and she would be so happy if I made her think that I was grateful of her time and hard work and love poured into these cookies by eating one. Okay, I'll eat one cookie. And that's where we lose most of you. Sorry, we lose you there. There aren't 10% of you that are left at that point. 20% tops that are still standing firm to your convictions to not eat any carbohydrates. And level 3 on a guilt trip scale, believe me, is still rank amateur compared to my grandmother. The alarm bells sound, the red lights start flashing. DEFCON 4, DEFCON 4. And your grandmother looks at you straight in the face. She loses her grin and her enthusiasm. And she says to you those devastating words, "What's the matter? Don't you like my cookies?" Oh, man. We're sunk now. Can we tell our little grandmother who labored and baked us cookies, can we tell her, even if we didn't like her cookies, even if they were the worst cookies on the planet, can we tell her, no, Grandma, your cookies suck ass? We can't say that. That's our grandmother, and she loves us. There aren't 1% of you out there at that point that will not eat a friggin' cookie. Grandma is a psychological wizard, and you lose. But wait. Okay, here it comes. We are at DEFCON 5. Grandma pulls out the last trick from her bag, and she looks at you and takes off her glasses, and you can see a tear forming in her eye. And she says, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not hurt. It's okay. I understand. If you don't like my cookies, I'll never make cookies for you again if that's what you want. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. And sorry, you're stuffing your face with cookies. Apologizing to your grandmother, giving her big hugs, and not seeing the Cheshire Cat grin she's got on her face when you're not looking at it. All that I was reminded of by a very masterful viewer of mine that left me a comment, psychologically determined, for whatever reason I can't figure out, to put me on a guilt trip. Of all things, to put me on a guilt trip. And let me read it to you, and you'll see what I mean. This from a man who in a previous life was probably a Jewish or an Italian grandmother. Master of the guilt trip, able to throw one with such skill that you can't get angry or even hate him. But you can feel guilty as hell for nothing if you have a conscience. And this gentleman writes to me, I would kill to be able to afford to stock a kitchen like you do. You have at your disposal right now more food than I could afford to purchase in 3 months. That does not take into consideration your freezer in the garage. My situation is not unique. I'm happy for you that you can afford to eat this way. Just know how fortunate you are. I gotta tell you, my friend, you are a kung fu master at hurling the guilt trip. You have told me that I'm selfish, that I don't care about the less fortunate, that I have no conscience. You have told me so many things that you think about me, all wrapped up in a guilt trip. My answer to you, being the compassionate human being that I am with a conscience, was not one designed to hurt your feelings, although there were a few things I wanted to say. But I said, no, your situation is not unique, and that's a shame. That answer, crafted as masterfully as the guilt trip that preceded it, my friend, comes when you pick a fight with your sensei, Butterfly, who has spent a lifetime with a Jewish grandmother. Take the rest of the day off, everybody, and eat meat.